Will ideology maintain its pump status, or is it going to fall flat on its face? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to be looking out for so you can turn on a dime and keep your crypto journey profitable. Let's dive in. I have the 1 hour chart pulled up on IDEA. I typically do not suggest that people look at the 1 hour chart. However, this is a hybrid chart technically because I manually drew in. So if you can see where my cursor is, I'm dragging this thing around. I manually drew in using this function here, right? I manually drew in the daily EMAs. So the daily 10, which is red, the daily 21, which is yellow, and the daily 200, which is orange. So I've drawn them in, and essentially, even though I'm on the 1 hour chart, I am using it as a daily chart, but with a microscope. So I want to be very specific about that. I'm not worried about the 1 hour EMAs, unless it's maybe the 200 EMA. That's the only 1 hour EMA I really look at ever, for the most part. But anyway, so I'm technically looking at the daily chart with a microscope. So 1 hour chart, daily EMAs drawn in. Now, what we can see here, if I zoom out first, is that you have a daily horizontal here. Okay, wick high, support, resistance, right? So, and that's from April, but it still maintains the validity or its importance, months and months later. So we have that as previous resistance. After you pass it, typically can act as future support. Right now, we're living in the future from April, technically the present. However, there we go. So you have one area of support. When something's going to bounce, what you do is you ask yourself the question, are enough people staring at something around here? Maybe not the same thing we're looking at, but are enough groups of buyers looking at something that will make them want to buy in specific regard to creating more buy pressure than sell pressure? As long as the buy pressure is this vector. So see how big this is? So this is a smaller vector, right? And all you're looking for in that is, are enough groups of people who typically only look at the 1 hour chart or the 4 hour chart or only horizontals and no EMAs, are there going to be enough groups of different types of people, different types of trading, different types of knowledge bases? Are enough people going to step in here? And I think personally, there is enough support here for multiple different groups of people who are saying totally different things to step in and create a bounce. And so the horizontal is the first of those key points. And we're going to cover a couple more here in a second. Hey, folks, if you are new to this and you don't know what EMAs are and what I'm saying here, this jargon doesn't make any sense, click this link right here, how to set up a chart. Within that 45-minute video, it could be potentially life-changing for you. It could save you a lot of disastrous moves if you just understand what I'm saying. And you could set up the chart yourself and make much better decisions as you click around with your money. Also, take the time to hit like for me. Flip your phone or get flipped off. Flip your phone vertically or you get flipped off. And also, what's going to help me out even more, besides, subscribing for new folks, is leave me a quick comment, even if it's just a period, like for the algo, or if you're a BPro fan, you're on this channel or on this video, like cover BPro, whatever, help out the algo for me. And for new viewers, if you like what I cover here, hit subscribe, hit that bell, because hitting the bell right over here, which is down for you, this stuff's time sensitive. It's going to help me walk you through a more profitable crypto journey. Let's dive back into the charts. All right, so that's one thing that one group, several groups of people will be looking at. A lot of people stare at horizontals, okay? All right, the next thing is the daily 10. If on the 1 hour chart, but we're using this still as a daily chart. So we're looking at a daily horizontal. This could bounce here, bounce here, bounce here. Allow the daily 10 to catch up. Also hits the daily 10. Are there a lot of people who use the daily chart? Hell yeah. Do a lot of people buy up the daily 10 EMA on bullish moves? Absolutely. Well, there you go. So that's your second area support at the same darn level. That's two things, giving strong support at current levels to say, hey, even though this might be the low, it might revisit it several times, wick below, but in general, this is going to be the level of support. So now we have two things stacking up. Third, a lot of people, and a lot of times it's folks who don't even look at EMAs, just looking at structure, market structure and all that. Look at this previous market structure. It's very common that after you make a market structure, you zoom up, you come back down and test the top of it or the bottom of it or the middle of it. Particularly if you're an altcoin, as Bitcoin and Ethereum might be going down, right? Or going sideways or going boring. So it's essentially has the bottom of this previous structure, which is a different group of people looking at. So now you have a third group of people who will step in and be buyers without even looking at this horizontal back from April, without even looking at the daily 10. They'll be looking at this. So you have three groups of people who will become buyers at the same level for totally different reasons. The chance for a bounce here is very strong. Right now, let's just look at the difference of this pump versus the previous ones that obviously didn't hold up. So this one right here was created because there was a trading challenge and just volatility went kapoo, like it just went through the roof. It actually wicked up to my horizontal that I have drawn here. The daily 200 is honestly a pretty easy play. I didn't play this because I'm staking. I'm still staking. All those people, make sure he doesn't dump on you. I have a fairly good size Patreon community, and I literally pull over the assets that I'm staking so they can see it, exact quantities, exact values. So I'm not dumping on people, and there are a lot of people who can vouch for me on that. So I still hold my idea, and I'm not planning on selling. It's staked, and I'm keeping it staked for a while, not years. You don't hold crypto for years, right? For new people who don't understand what that means, just you don't. You need to look at my market cycles video in my library playlist. Market cycles, they exist, and you don't hold, not even Bitcoin. You don't hold Bitcoin for years. So, well, if you do, well, I guess Bitcoin might be the exception to that, but it still is going to lose 80+% of its value in a bear market. So why the hell would you hold it? I don't get why people would hold Bitcoin through a bear market. All right. Now, look at this bump. It came back down to, let's actually zoom in. It came straight back down to previous structure here, right here to this previous structure, and broke right below it. So this pump was totally different. It failed immediately, fell flat on its face, right? So this move up looks like it has a lot more structure to it, a lot more foundation to it. And it's completely different than these last wicks up. This doesn't look like it's just going to be a wick. And also you have the bullish cross, which is why I made the video there. Look, this was a daily 10, daily 200 squeeze play. Price was squeezed between the two. Why do you think I made the video when I did? It was the perfect time to do it. It was going to pump anyway. It was getting ready to pump, literally. That is one of the most powerful and statistically probable squeeze plays out there. I think this, for that reason alone, yeah, you could get a retest, but the daily 10's already up here. So that would be your retest of the squeeze play, essentially, since the daily 10's already far above the daily 200. So I think there are a lot of now. What would negate this? So I said in the intro video here that I will also give you things to look out for if this should break down. Okay, so this is what I'd be looking for to break down the exact levels and how long it'll stay down there. So let's dive in. All right, so if this breaks down, I would say a quick revisit, not for very long, though. I don't think it'll stay down there very long, but around 22 cents to retest the daily 21, because it did really respect the daily 200. So see this orange dotted line? That's the EMA, 200 EMA of the daily. Usually when you give so much, look at all this respect for that line. Look how many times it comes up and kisses it, right? Like that's like, somebody's sucking up to somebody else, like really respecting the crap out of it. You don't need to come back down and test it. Even if you fly above, like you have done your duties, you did your jail time. It doesn't need to go back to jail, right? But sometimes coins do, even if they gave great respect. Now, if you see a coin fly above its daily 200 without a lot of respect for multiple days, right? How long did it start respecting this? Yeah, a month, right? But it's only a couple of days of being under there and it flies above, it's almost always going to come back down and test that 200 EMA. And that applies to the 15-minute chart, the 1 hour chart, the 2 hour chart. It literally all the candles move the same across different time frames. If there's no respect as you fly above the 200 EMA, regardless of time frame, you're going to come back down and check it. Doesn't matter how I go. You can have 100% bump. Doesn't matter. You're going to come straight down and check it almost every time. Literally like 9 times out of 10 without respect for it, without respecting it. If you fly above without respect, but more often than not, I don't know the exact number across all of crypto. That would take insane amounts of time to calculate, but over time, over my 4 years of observing this, when you have that much respect of a month of the daily 200 and you fly above, you have a better than 50% chance it will not come back down and test it. However, that's far from 100%. So my low end target is around 22 cents, a retag of that. And if it happens, I don't think it'll stay down there very long. I think it'll get a hard bounce, daily closure above the 21, then the next day will close above 10, and then it should resume. Like, I don't think it'll live down there. So that's the low end. If Ethereum does break down, which I think it's going to break down to some degree, or just go boring sideways until like Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't think we're going to see a pump here soon, but it could be a mini bear trap. Anyway, so that's the lowest downside target. The other downside target is the daily 21. Daily 21 is a common point, just like BPRO. BPRO came down here, came up, went down below based on it. This might just base on the daily 21, and that would bring it down to 26 cents and give it some, a nice good base to work back into this zone. Maybe fill out some area, work back into this zone, fill out some area, and then charge back up. So in bullish moves, when Bitcoin and Ethereum pull down the altcoin, one of the most common ways for altcoins outside of Ethereum, when Ethereum is helping lead the market down, right? Pulling stuff down. A very common play is it pulls it down to its daily 21, which could mean a wick. And what would a wick below the daily 21 mean? A super fast revisit down to 22 cents, making that a great snag. And then it just lives some more time up here, gets above, something like that. So that would be my second downside target for IDEA. So hopefully you can see here what actions you can take, what scenarios are playing out. And when you are dealing with altcoins, even if you're not planning on buying and selling, from an emotional standpoint, if you bought this, even if you're not trading, it's important to know what the chart is. So your emotions already have expectations, because if something happens in price against what you're expecting, which is up, we're expecting to make money here, right? But as long as hey, there's a strong probability of a downside move here, when it happens, you're not getting scared out of your positions. You're not panic selling. Your emotions already have that expectation, but without the expectation, that's more like popping a balloon next to somebody, like behind their head, like freak out, right? So it's an emotional freak out. But if somebody's going to pop the balloon in front of you, you might flinch, but you're not going to freak out and panic sell, right? It's literally the same thing. You are conditioning yourself for a potential future emotional response. And if you are expecting the possibility that somebody will pop that balloon in front of your face, your emotional response will be less. So even if you're a hodler, that's why these videos are so important. I'm telling you. Flip your phone or get flipped off. If you liked what you saw, new viewers, hit subscribe, hit that bell, which is actually the other way. It's just down here. Hit the bell, because the stuff's time sensitive. I'm going to help walk you through a more profitable crypto journey. And the 2 videos that you see popping up here, new folks, you got to watch them. I'm telling you, it's going to make a big difference in your crypto journey, and y'all just got to be fine.